Welcome to this explainer. So, if you've been following the massive shifts in digital finance lately, you've probably asked yourself a very logical question. Why exactly does India need a digital rupee when UPI is already literally everywhere? It's a really great question. And today, we're going to unpack the reality of India's central bank digital currency, or CBDC, as we look at it in 2026.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our agenda for today. First, the shadow of UPI. Second, unpacking the digital rupee. Third, programmable money and subsidies. Fourth, solving the connectivity gap. And finally, the road to 2032.
Section 1. The shadow of UPI. To really understand the digital rupee, we first have to address the massive elephant in the room. The undisputed king of India's digital payments. $300 billion. That absolutely staggering number is UPI's monthly transaction volume as of mid-2026. I mean, it's a true testament to how seamlessly UPI has just integrated into everyday Indian life. It handles absolutely everything, right? From your neighborhood street vendor selling chai all the way to massive national retail chains. It represents absolute, unquestioned dominance in the modern financial space. But I want you to compare that massive volume to this. $3.6 billion. That much smaller figure? That's the digital rupee's entire cumulative volume since its launch way back in December 2022. Seeing these numbers side by side naturally prompts a highly logical, almost unavoidable question. Is the digital rupee failing? And, when you factor in that retail circulation has actually dipped recently, it's incredibly easy to jump to that exact conclusion. But here is where the story gets really fascinating. Early on, there was this desperate scramble to artificially boost the digital rupee's transaction numbers. It honestly got a little silly. Banks were actually crediting their own employees' salaries into CBDC wallets just to force the system to hit 1 million daily transactions. But artificial hype never lasts. Recognizing this, the Reserve Bank of India wisely pivoted. Actually, scratch that. They completely changed the game. They stopped chasing generic raw transaction volumes and fully adopted a functionality-first mindset. Success for the digital rupee is now entirely measured by unique utility, not just raw data. Section 2. Unpacking the digital rupee. So let's clear up exactly what this is. The digital rupee is essentially sovereign digital cash. It's issued directly by the RBI and represents a direct claim on the central bank, exactly like physical paper money. UPI, on the other hand, is really just a messaging system that moves commercial bank liabilities between your existing bank accounts. And cryptocurrency, well, that's totally decentralized and wildly volatile. The digital rupee, however, is permanently pegged one-to-one with the physical rupee. It is definitely not a speculative investment. It's the exact equivalent of holding a physical banknote just securely stored right there on your phone. Section 3. Programmable money and subsidies. So, what gives this digital cash an edge over what we already have? We're talking about programmability. This means the RBI can seamlessly embed conditional parameters directly into the digital tokens themselves, firmly restricting them to specific categories of spending. Think of this as the ultimate bulletproof tool against corruption and systemic leakage. If public funds are allocated for a very specific purpose, the currency itself mathematically ensures those funds absolutely cannot be diverted, stolen, or misused. Let's look at how this magic actually plays out in the real world right now. Down in Maharashtra's Phulnagar village, there is an incredibly active pilot program happening. First, the government issues a programmable digital token specifically for a drip irrigation subsidy. Next, a local farmer receives this conditional token, which is literally programmed to cover up to 80% of the equipment cost. But here is the brilliant part, step 3, that specific token can only be validated and spent at an officially approved agricultural merchant. The farmer gets immediate, frictionless access to the subsidy, and the government completely guarantees zero leakage. It's a massive win-win driven entirely by this new technology. Section 4. Solving the connectivity gap. Now, the second superpower specifically targets India's persistent infrastructure challenge. Offline functionality allows secure transactions in remote villages without a single bar of mobile data. Using near-field communication, or NFC, two devices can simply tap and transfer digital rupees securely, completely offline. This transforms the CBDC from a mere digital convenience into a true financial inclusion tool. We are reaching millions of underserved citizens in areas where a lack of cell towers previously meant you had to rely entirely on handling physical cash. And speaking of physical cash, there's another major macroeconomic benefit here. Physical money is incredibly expensive to manage. Designing it, printing it with high-end security features, and then securely transporting heavy physical banknotes cost the RBI, commercial banks, and businesses tens of billions of rupees every single year. The digital rupee carries absolutely zero physical security printing costs. This creates massive systemic savings across the entire economy while still offering the ironclad trust and backing of a traditional physical banknote.
But what happens when we look beyond India's borders? Well, the RBI has massive international ambitions here as well. They're actively exploring high-efficiency cross-border settlement corridors, currently holding strong partnerships with both Singapore and the UAE. Even more significantly, there is a bold, highly anticipated proposal to mathematically link the CBDCs of the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, at the 2026 summit. By connecting these sovereign digital currencies directly, these economies aim to streamline global trade settlements and notably reduce their long-standing reliance on the US dollar for cross-border transactions. It's a real game-changer on the global stage.
Section 5. The Road to 2032. Okay, before we look at the timeline, we absolutely have to answer this critical question. I know it's likely on every single viewer's mind right now. With all these features, the offline capabilities and programmability, is the government secretly planning to phase out physical cash? Or perhaps shut down UPI in favor of the digital rupee? The official answer from the RBI and Governor Shakti Kanta Das is a resounding no. The central stance is complement, not replace. The central bank has been incredibly clear that they are in absolutely no hurry to force a full-scale mandatory launch. They want absolute, undeniable certainty regarding system safety and robustness. The digital rupee isn't a weapon against UPI, folks. It's simply adding another highly specialized tool to India's already diverse financial toolkit. And that brings us to this highly patient three-phase roadmap. Right now, between 2026 and 2028, we're in the first phase, pilot expansions heavily focused on government subsidies. They're utilizing those captive user bases to deeply test the system's limits in the real world. Next, from 2028 to 2032, the focus will strategically shift outward to maturing the offline tech and establishing those crucial international cross-border corridors we talked about. It's really only in the long term, looking at 2032 and beyond, that experts project a meaningful shift of your everyday, low-value retail transactions over to the digital rupee. Success is a marathon here. It's strictly measured by leakage reduction and genuine financial inclusion, not by trying to beat UPI's transaction count today. As ambitious fintech companies start building sophisticated new products upon this government infrastructure, the possibilities are just vast. So I want to leave you with this to ponder. If your own money could be explicitly programmed with specific conditions and goals, how might that totally transform your daily financial habits in the next decade? It's a whole new frontier for personal and national economics. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer on India's digital rupee. Keep your eyes on this space, because the fundamental nature of money is being quietly rewritten right in front of us.